So Thomas, pleasure to meet you. Congratulations on the new role.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate that.
That's all right. So I suppose it's been a bit of a flying start for you. You came into the role in October last year and kind of hit the ground running at one of the most challenging times that I think the world has experienced. How are you finding your feet?
Well, I would say first and foremost, there's not been a lot of flying in the beginning of my job here due to the pandemic, of course. And naturally, it's been a challenging time. And starting a job during a pandemic is always special. And you have to find new ways to hit the ground running. I would say, though, I'm super psyched about it. It's a great opportunity. I've gotten to know the team. I've met all of our colleagues. Albeit it's been virtually. I've had the chance to listen to everyone, and what I'm really impressed with is that I've seen a company that is not just marketing itself as people first. It's truly a people first company that puts our employees, our families, our colleagues, our partners, and our societies above everything else. So people first is really first. That's fantastic. And at the same time, joining a leader in innovation with strong technology, a very strong brand with a lot of recognition and quality. It's just a great thing, and I've obviously learned that our partnerships are immensely important to us, and that's one of the reasons I joined, since I have a partner background.
Fantastic. Now, you've been CEO of the organisation for about 6 months now, and Milestone, I think, is without doubt one of the most broadly known security organisations in the security space. You know, what have you learned since joining the organisation?
I think first and foremost, as I mentioned, I've learned that people first is really first. And that's a great attribute for a company. A lot of other companies in and beyond our industry is really using the term, but it typically ends up as a marketing statement rather than something you really do. I've learned that video technology is hugely complex, but also hugely prosperous for societies. Yet we need to work as an industry to ensure that the customers, the societies understand the value rather than always looking at the challenges in video technology. And obviously, as I ended off before, I've learned that partnerships are immensely important for us, and I can see our partner ecosystem is just great, whether it comes to our back-end developing partners or our front-end reselling partners.
Yep. So you recently had your MIPS event. Where do you see, in the context of that event and in the context of the evolution of video analytics, where do you see Milestone within the next 5 years?
So, you know, John, we just had the MIPS event, and just a remark on that. It was the first time ever to do it purely virtual. It was really successful, despite the fact that it was the first time for all of us. We had approximately 9,000 attendees in a virtual event spanning over 3 regions over 2 days. So that was really great. Some of the things we spoke about on the event, which is also our 5-year journey, is I anticipate Milestone transforming into becoming an increasingly business outcome company. A business outcome for me is actually looking at what value we create for our customers, for our societies, rather than just selling them our technology. I see us strengthening our footprint in video technology, and I also see us moving beyond the traditional security and safety industry. I also expect that we will explore further specific verticals in the market that we want to become successful in. Meaning that we want to specialize in specific use cases for those industries. And then the last thing, which I really think is immensely important and increasingly gaining attention also in any other industries, is that technology is expected to become responsible not just to our customers, but to the societies we operate in. And I think we need to turn around the messaging that video technology is not just benefiting our customers, it actually serves the people and the societies in which we operate. And that's a huge change. And we intend to put a lot of efforts in that investment.
Yeah, well, that's a great segue into something that's been spoken about a lot around Milestone lately, which is beyond security. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the open platform system that Milestone has adopted and built over the last, say, half a decade, and how that open platform system translates into beyond security in the context of what you were just saying, and whether or not you see that open platform system continuing to serve the end users moving forward into the future.
You know, John, we started as an open platform company 23 years ago, and it has been in our DNA. It's in our development philosophy, and we expect that to continue because it creates flexibility for our customers. It creates the opportunity to adapt to diverse use cases that is really helping our customers solve their challenges and get their business outcomes. Naturally, in order to be an open platform company, we need to ensure that we have strong integration partners and we have a strong developer community that can add value to our platform. So you will see us increasingly invest in that. And we are proud to also state that we continuously invest in R&D from our perspective. Last year, our R&D investments grew by 11%. So it's actually now 26% of our net revenue.
Yep. So one of the things that I think is a trend that we can all agree that we see occurring in the industry over the last 10 years is that people just want things to be simple and easy and frictionless, for lack of a better term. And in that context, that's driving a lot of people towards proprietary systems, because in a proprietary system, hardware works with hardware because the architecture is all designed to allow it to do so. But in an open platform where you've got to talk to lots of different components and different hardware and all the rest of it, how does Milestone work within that sort of open world and open up architecture to create those frictionless systems?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. Customers are looking for seamless integrations. They're looking for frictionless solutions. And end-to-end offerings are supposed to offer that. There's just, in my mind, a challenge that we have, and it becomes a little bit of a marketing challenge because many vendors are promoting end-to-end solution as a single vendor solution. In my mind, an end-to-end solution is a closed ecosystem that is built together to work together. That does not necessarily require a single vendor. If you just look at core basic security, that is possible. However, if you look at my vision for future video technology, then the systems are increasingly becoming complex and diversified. The use cases are demanding differentiated offerings, just as I mentioned, the verticalized approach. So a single vendor solution will be a smallest possible fit for that use case, because it will be very difficult to scale across those various use cases and the various verticals and owning the entire ecosystem of offerings. And we just have to look at the trends towards increased use of sensor technology, artificial intelligence, machine learning, analytics. Any single vendor that can master every element of that, I haven't met them yet when you look beyond the core security features. So for us, we talk about partner-enabled end-to-end solutions. The importance is, of course, that we also secure that those end-to-end solutions are seamless in integration and they work frictionless. So that's our quest. And of course, we are not perfect at that today, but we are working with our trusted partners to deliver that customer value.
Yeah, well, you mentioned partners, and in that context, community has always been something that's been at the heart of a lot of what Milestone does, whether it be developers, vendors, end users. It's all about that community. Can you tell us a little bit about the developer marketplace and how that fits into the company ethos?
Absolutely, and let me start on a higher level. Partners are just absolutely key to our success, both on the development side, but absolutely also on the sales side. So it's our partners that do the integration. It's our partners that actually sell the integrators and the end-to-end solutions. we have increased our focus on what we call technology partners, and that's really both our developer forums, but also our partnerships with other manufacturers or integrators that build around our system. Our marketplace, as well as our specific partnerships, are meant to co-create innovations. So it's really important for us that we build joint solutions with our partners that create business advantages for our customers, or business outcomes, as I referred to it before. So for us, in order to win, we need to grow with our partners. This is where our marketplace strategy will be an important part of that.
Yeah. Now, as part of that sort of marketplace strategy, you're obviously very well placed to see a lot of the emerging trends that are occurring in the industry, because you're working across so many different partners and so many different vendors. So I'd like to ask you a little bit about some of the trends that you're seeing emerging, but in the context of trends, one would be remiss if they didn't say over the last 12 months, COVID has played a significant role, not just in the world, but in the world of security, with facial recognition and analytics and heat mapping and all the rest of it. So what are you seeing in the way of trends in video analytics, and how, if any, has COVID forced Milestone to sort of reimagine what they're doing in the context of those trends?
So to start with COVID, COVID has been disruptive for the entire world, and it's been a difficult time for everybody. And of course, what we have experienced is that a lot of projects have been put on hold by our customers, but it has also presented new opportunities. We quickly pivoted to a virtual environment. We actually had a record year last year where we had close to 23,000 participants in our virtual events. We started offering care campaigns to our partner community to ensure that they still had opportunities to talk to their customers, work with their customers, whilst they were not able to go on the customer side to do integrations and installations. Naturally, COVID was a challenging year, and I have to say we're immensely proud of the fact that we could still retain our revenue of more than 1 billion Danish kroner. And we met our original profit targets for 2020. So despite a decline in revenue of 1%, which actually presents a positive growth in constant currency, then we came out of the year strong. And I think one of the most important parts we did there was that we started by looking at our people. Back to people first. We made sure that our colleagues could take care of their families, their friends, their societies. And we looked at how can we take care of our partners, and how can we, as a family, take care of our colleagues. We actually last year increased our employees by 69 persons, so we're now close to 1,000 employees during a time of crisis where many of our colleagues in the industry were actually laying off people. The first thing we did was we actually learned from you guys in Asia and the Pacific, because you were hit first. And unlike what we might have seen in some of the countries where everybody thought it's not going to hit us, we actually started by learning from our team in Singapore, in Australia, how have you handled the pandemic, what can we do to prepare, and how can we make sure it happens. And then once we had taken care of the business, we started looking at the opportunities and the emerging trends, as you referred to them. Some of the things we see, and we see new use cases, our X-Protect is now being deployed to look at safe work environments. It's being deployed in shopping centers and public transport to promote situational awareness, whether it's safe parking, or we have a case with remote plane de-icing in Jackson Hole Airport in the US. In Sydney, in your home turf, the shopping centers are actually deploying our technology for anti-trespassing systems as well. We have social distancing. We have you mentioned AI to look at temperature and so forth. It's still very early stage to ensure the quality of those systems, but we have partners deploying elements in that part as well. Contact tracing cases. So we already now see the new technology, the advancements really working in the right direction from that perspective.
Fantastic. Now, we spoke a little bit before about the MIPS event, which I should point out for anyone watching this who's not familiar with it, you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but it stands for the Milestone Integration Partners Symposium, or?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so this is an event that Milestone holds each year around the world in various regions for their partners. What other plans have you got coming up, given that we're now starting to sort of travel again and see some freedom happening in certain parts of the world? Are there any more updates or events on the calendar that you'd like to share with us?
I can tell you on a personal note, I'm just looking forward to get a chance to come out in the world and meet our customers and our partners, and of course my new colleagues, which I've only met virtually. However, we also have some business plans because that's why we exist. And first and foremost, we launched our new Husky lineup at the MIPS event. They will start shipping next month, so that's we have very big expectations to that. We have plans to revisit our partner program, to strengthen our partner programs, both in the developer or integration manufacturing space, but also in the sales space. So towards the end of this year, we anticipate to launch a new partner program that will make it even more attractive to partner with Milestone. And then least but not last, we will continue our efforts to put people first in everything we do. We've started the exploration phase of how can we, as a strong industry player, actually support the need for the right legislation within security, within technology, and so forth. How can we ensure that players in the industry like ourselves are not just talking about being responsible, but actually acting accordingly?
So looking at the South Pacific region specifically, what are your thoughts on the industry in terms of maturity and digital adoption and how that's sort of growing?
So first and foremost, the South Pacific is a relatively mature digital market, so we learn a lot from this market as well. We also see a huge potential in particularly in the ANC region because there is a huge uptake in digitalization. A recent survey from Gartner actually revealed that 54% of all CIOs in the region said that the funding for digital innovation in their organizations actually increased in 2020, and 2/3 of them are actually expecting it to increase further in 2021. So we anticipate to see much more focus on digitization, and video technology will play an important part in that. We see the adoption for data analytics increasing rapidly, and we also already now see some key projects in the infrastructure and the retail sectors that will really support the opportunity to develop innovative solutions. And some of the examples I mentioned the Sydney shopping malls just a moment ago, but we see more innovations coming out from down under. We see LPR technology being applied to identify regular customers in retail industry, which or even in restaurants and hospitality areas, which enables the company to serve their needs, preparing their regular orders and so forth, just based on video technology that knows now their car has arrived, so let's get their merchandise ready or their food ready. We actually see Swinburne University are deploying our systems and video technology for more effective learning environments, both for students and for staff. And finally, one of the things that really intrigued me, and I hadn't heard about that, Carina Leagues Club, one of the gambling places in the country, is applying video technology to support individuals that have put themselves off the list to stay out of the place. So they have opted in that they can use video technology to stop them, to help them with their gambling addiction. And that's just a fantastic use case that people that are asking for help, you can see video technology that can really help in that instance.
You come from a background in the IT industry where you've run some of the largest IT companies across Europe, and you bring with you a depth and breadth of experience in IT. And we know that innovation is an important part of Milestone. What do you bring to the organization from the point of view of being able to see outside the security bubble for opportunities and innovations from that IT background that you think will drive some of what Milestone's looking at doing moving forward? And I'll give you an example. In the security industry, you mentioned before data mining and capturing data and analytics. We in this industry haven't been very good traditionally up until now about doing anything with the data. We've been great at capturing data, but we haven't been able to do anything meaningful with the data. How do you see Milestone, driven by your experience in IT, being able to change that paradigm?
Well, I think first and foremost, and you allude to my background, it's not only my background in IT, that obviously comes in handy because IT is also technology, but I worked in supply chain logistics, I worked in sustainable energy and in consulting. So I bring a very diversified mindset. I think one of the things I learned in particularly around technology was the 5 years I spent in Silicon Valley. The fact that you have to embrace new technology and explore. And exploration is what I'm missing in this industry. We are relatively conservative. We're looking at what we did yesterday. We might be looking at what we would like to do tomorrow, but we have to start looking at that more longer term foresight and saying, how can we use the new technology in a productive and, not to forget, a responsible way? So what I want to bring in is that innovative mindset that I learned in California, bring in some of that customer focus that I mentioned before, and this is why I built up this concept of business outcomes. We have to be customer focused as an industry. Nobody wakes up in the morning and saying, "Oh gosh, I wish I had a new video technology system." Now, they might wake up in the morning and say, "I wish I knew my customers better," or "I wish I could treat my patients better," or that I could prevent security risk in my company or in my society. And we need to start looking at the business outcomes. And you mentioned all the things there, John, around data mining, data analytics. There's a lot of machine learning elements that enables you to do predictive analytics. But we need also to do it in a conscious way, because we have to be very, very humble about the fact that we are in an area of technology that records people. And we need to do that in a sustainable and responsible way. And we always have to ask ourselves, will we expose ourselves, our children, to this? And if the answer is yes, then we have a pretty good indicator that this is a technology that can help for the better good of our customers and for our societies.
Fantastic. So in that innovation mindset, I suppose one of the things that's always struck me as impressive, for lack of a better term, about Milestone is the fact that being the hub at the center of the wheel, your video management system has not only been one of the more recognizable and widely used systems in the industry for a long time, but you have enabled entire businesses to grow out of what you do. Companies like Images and Ipsotech and Helios and all of these other organizations, and the Boring Labs and Boring Toolbox, all of these people whose businesses literally would not exist were it not for Milestone. As the CEO of Milestone, how important is that to you?
And that's immensely important. As we discussed partnerships before, our entire business model is built around partnerships. It's about enabling our partners to help us create innovations for the customers and enabling our reselling partners to actually help customers gain those advantages. So we take great pride in that, but we also take it very serious. We are relying on our partners and they're relying on us. So that's why it's a two-way street. We work together to win together.
Fantastic. Now, you're in front of the beautiful Sydney backdrop there behind you. We know you've spent some time here in Australia. Have you got any special fond memories of Australia?
I have plenty of fond memories of Australia. I spent 6 months in Sydney, and while I was working for the world's largest manufacturer of vacuum cleaners at the time, and it's one of the first professional experiences I have in my career, and it was meant to be an internship that turned out to me ending up as the marketing manager for the company for the 6 months duration. So I learned a wealth, and I really enjoyed it. I have to say I fell in love with the culture and the diversity. I'll also have to admit that I'm not super fond of the generous wealth you have of spiders and snakes in the country. That's not my favorite part, but I really had a great time. I learned a lot. I got to see the country, and I can tell you I can't wait to get back.
Well, it's ironic, from spiders to snakes and just about anything that'll kill you, we've got it in great degrees here, except for COVID. That's the one thing we don't seem to have at the moment, which we're all very grateful for.
Good on you.
And any last closing thoughts that you'd like to share with the people today?
I think when we come back to the core of it, Milestone is committed to continuous innovation. We want to stay forefront in this industry and we want to do it with our partners. However, we also want to be the beacon of responsible technology in our industry and beyond, because we are in a sensitive field when it comes to technology. And technology in a broader scope is not always super supported and popular in the greater societies. And I think we carry a responsibility to take the first steps and continue to take them as we move forward there. So you will see us investing much more from that perspective. And I want to finish off where I started. We want to be the people first company and acknowledge as such, because it's people that develop software, it's people at our partners and at our customers that support that software and use it on a daily basis. And that mindset, we believe that's good for business, both for us and for our customers and our partners.
Fantastic. Well, Thomas, thank you very much for taking the time to have a chat with us this evening, and we look forward to seeing what you and Milestone achieve in the coming years.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.